Hey guys, let's do part 2, shall we? So back on track, we've got illusions. That's what we left off on. Welcome back if you came back. Good to see ya. I'm excited that you're excited for this because I feel like I didn't get to that much in the first part, but this is where all the goods are, so let's get into it. But yeah, our parents say, we love you and you have our support, right? How many of us hear that? But then drop the ball repeatedly. that pause wasn't planned. I just was like, oh, are we going there? Okay, we're going there. I haven't really read these since I wrote them earlier. Short-term memory loss. Yeah, but they drop the ball repeatedly. They really do. Sons can't talk to women, and the daughters don't know the meaning of the word loyal. And neither one of us, know how to pick partners. That's for sure. I don't. There's so much shame, and I learned from my best friend, who I've been friends with for probably about 7 years now, and he said that he views girls like he views his mom, which is super honest of him. Mad respect. He's been doing so well. I'm so proud of him. So introspective, but yeah, just a very critical voice, he said, is inside. And it sounds, I've heard very, very similar things from a lot of my other guy friends throughout the years. I don't just have a bunch or anything. I have a handful of really good friends and like more Discord. That's so embarrassing. It's okay. This is a safe space, but that's totally an ad. Listen, the ambiance, I needed some help. And I do pay for it, but listen. Part 1 is uploading on my YouTube Premium. That's uploading because I got like a month of premium free. So I'm like, sure. So that one I've been enjoying, no ads. But I opened a Safari tab and there is ads. So sorry about that. Anywho, let's get the ambiance going back, shall we? This is such a futuristic. We're in 2025, babe. This is the future. Sorry, my fire just paused. We're here. That's so nuts. Okay, so the critical voice, right? But we're not powerless. We're not powerless. This was like a 2-hour phone call with him. He gave me so many great points. I'm gonna make a separate video about a stupid a half-hearted apology. I'm not gonna edit these, so I hope that that's okay that one slid. I am trying to be careful. I do apologize, YouTube. I'm sorry, YouTube. Okay, but he sent me screenshots of his mom that sent him like an apology. I was fuming when I read it. So I want to make that like a whole nother video, but this, like, you thought my family was bad? My video that went viral, just me, it was not planned. I just casually was just like, I was in bed one day and I'm like, you know what? This is what happened. I'm sick of it, blah, blah, blah. Upload. You know what I mean? And so it's just, I don't know. I don't know where I was going with that. Yeah. Just that. Oh, yeah. I thought we all thought that was bad. He scared me. He did the other day. I had never heard of, I don't want to like give spoilers, but real quick, his mom said, I don't love you. I don't love you back. He said it to her after his sisters said it, and she was like, I love you too. He was like, I just thought that I would say it. And he's like, I love you, Mom. And she said, well, I don't love you back. And I saw the screenshots, you guys. He's not lying. And sorry, she adopted him. She signed up for that. That's literally what that means. You sign up to love someone. So how you're gonna say, I don't love you anymore? Oh my gosh. So yeah, I couldn't believe that. Bamboozled. But he gave me some really great points. Love that guy. So obviously, ding, 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 no surprise to anyone, the roots in childhood, right? Go to therapy, and we don't have nearly enough time to get into that in this video. Roots in childhood. First point, You can honestly just go with that and come back when you have all that sorted out. But hypothetically, let's say you do. Number 2, he said that he is literally just doing what he has always been told to do, right? Which is shove it down. And I'm seeing, I'm in like this parallel universe of women, and then when guys do that and people do that to us, we take it very personally and we get hurt. It hurts. Even like if we really care about the person, it can actually hurt like in our body. Guys know what that's like too. Because I'm just saying, like, I don't know if you guys feel it in those specific moments. Probably. We're all human. Why do we think of, I just caught myself. I've been doing that a lot lately, catching myself about weird thoughts. I'm like, why do I think that way? Where did that come from? That's a good thing to do. But yeah, so pushing it down, guys have always been told, he said, to just kind of rub some dirt on it. And I just don't want to get anything wrong because, yeah. But then I thought, and yeah, the women get hurt and take it personally, and that's so backwards because it's not personal. It's because they are being told to shove it down and like not talk about things and not show emotion. And then the women are getting offended that men aren't showing more emotion. Don't you see? Like, that's so backwards. Thank God for notes. Because that got me back on track. Did you see that? I kind of lost it, and then we circled back, baby. All right, number 3, trauma. Just kidding. Let's take it seriously. All right, trauma. He said that there were, sorry if I'm just like, I have to get through this, and this is really hard for me to talk about. I'm just like, let's get into it. The third point, huge point, is trauma that goes into it, right? He experienced and I asked him if he would be willing for me to share this, and I asked him if I could blow the lid off and share that screenshot in a future video and just break down this huge half-hearted, like AI generated seemingly apology from this woman. And I almost said apologize. But yeah, anywho. So the room raid, so he did consent to this, me sharing, just FYI. For science, for my research purposes. No, but seriously, this has been a really cool social experiment, so thank you. Suppression. A lot of suppression of emotions. The whole I don't love you back thing, that's a separate point underneath trauma. That's horrible. Horrible, right? And then the 4th thing is, all of that and all the criticism that he experienced from his mom specifically. And I brought that up to my therapist, and he confirmed it's usually the moms. It usually is. So his relationship with his mom, it's indicative of a lot, way more than it should be. Me too. I'm messed up probably from, I got a lot of exploring to do in that. I've been focusing on my dad and like that part of the issues that I have to work on almost on a daily basis to get through the trauma of someone saying that they don't want you twice. Tried it as a kid, doesn't want me. Goes back around for more. Sorry, this is not in the notes. Why am I sharing this? What? Overshare. But yeah, it goes back around in my adult life, and he's still like, not about it. And I was the one reaching out every time, and it was just ended in him just wanting to get me super, super intoxicated and combining substances. And I'm like, no, that's not a father-daughter relationship, is it? No, it's not. I wanted it to be. Sorry, it's hard to talk about. That was not supposed to be in the video. Okay, back on track. Critical voices, right? That voice, though, it actually ties in. That's thank goodness. It wasn't just a traumatic side tangent. Thanks if you're with us. But yeah, the critical voice of women, for in his case, or like my dad, in my case, and men in general, just this criticizing voice becomes our internal voice. And he said that it kind of shaped girls and women into this like foreign race. It's like aliens, he doesn't understand them at all, doesn't know how to begin to talk, because he said that the main thing, it's not even so, because he's a really likable guy. And he opens up to me and we joke around and we're goofballs. Oh my gosh, I have almost peed my pants laughing with him so many times. But yeah, it's just we're not aliens. And he said that I really helped him with that, and I really appreciated him saying that, because I'm kind of like the silly friend, and I get people kind of out of their shell. Despite the autism, I have a heavy dose of ADHD as well, so it gets me by. And I usually am kind of the social glue, surprisingly. But yeah, but we're not aliens. Women aren't a foreign race. He said that it's important to remember that we're all human and to see women as human. Sorry, but and not necessarily in like an objectification way, like we usually think of, not thinking of women as human, but I mean, um, it's like, just having heart to heart conversations with them. They can handle your emotions. Not all of them are going to meet your emotions with shame and judgment. That shame. We're going to get into that in a little bit, but it'll get you. It'll get you good. That's the one thing. It's holding us back. It's robbing us of so much pleasure. This part isn't in the notes, but like even in the bedroom, like if we're being held back, oh, I sound like someone like in my 40s right now in the bedroom. No, but like, yeah, if we hold back and we let shame dictate like what we ask for, or even like what we allow ourselves to explore, what y'all doing? Seriously, like you're cutting the pleasure in half. There can't be shame attached to it. That's like such a, I don't know. Anywho, we're not aliens, okay? Just have heart to heart conversations with us, use discernment, but some of us are pretty chill. Some of us are genuinely chill, whether that be by trauma. Or maybe we're just like, guys, I'm approaching 30. People act like I'm like a pick me in high school with all these like crazy interests, like, oh, you don't really like that stuff. I'm like, really? I'm like almost 30 years old, and I've had 30 years to develop my interest into whatever I want. And these are the things that I have been into since I was a child. Weapons, hip hop. Sorry if they're cooler than your interest, but you should have got interest 20 years ago like me. I'm sorry if that makes me. I grew up my dad, I talk trash, but he gave me super good taste in, music and video games, and he just like cultured. And by good, I just mean like the classics, 80s, 90s stuff, whether that be video games or music or sci-fi or whatever it is. I was just cultured. So I'm thankful for that. But yeah, we're not aliens. I wish sometimes, speaking of sci-fi, but yeah, all in all, he said that we put women on a pedestal, and I totally agree. We do get by with things that men can't necessarily get by with, whether that's because of our looks or we're a girl and we're soft, or a lot of girls will take advantage of that. Like as a woman who, me, as a woman who I experience pain a lot. I have a lot of challenges to do with the autism, so I've always needed a really understanding person, whether that's a friend or a partner. And I've dated women, but they're a lot more intimidating to date. They really are. And I think that it's because, I don't know, I just feel like they're more judgmental, and I feel like there's always something that I don't know if I can say this, but like there's totally double standards happening, okay? Let me just acknowledge that. But like dating women in the age of social media is just not my cup of tea, I guess would be like sorry, I'm really like tiptoeing here. This is not in the notes. But it's just not, I can't do it. Call me weak or jealous or insecure, but there's just so much like everyone's foaming at the mouth for women, and I just feel like women are so complex and their needs always fluctuate, and I struggle with insecurity in that department where I'm just not gonna be enough, and I feel like I'm gonna get cheated on, and like I just feel like I get really insecure of their guy friends. Like, it's like one of the girls, well, just to bring up the last two that I was like seeing on a regular basis. If for whatever reason you see these videos, like, no shade, like one of them actually was helping me or trying to help me when I was homeless. She was like trying to talk to her mom and stuff, this one, but she had 5 cats, okay, which no hate, but like that probably it was, she lived with her ex though. That was the thing. That was the thing. Like, she probably thought it was the 5 cats, and I'm like, no, it's the fact that the 5 cats are in your house. You're still living with your ex. And then, no shade, thank you, girl, for your help. But it just intimidates me too much. I'm like, what's going on? I'm insecure. It's me. It is. I promise it's not like a generic, it's not you, it's me, but seriously. And then, yeah, the other one, I don't know, like, I drove to see her, and she gave me this address that, like, wasn't her address, and because I was on that side of town, and, like, I stopped by, and it was 3 of us. She was already there at I think it was his apartment, or, like, his roommates, or brother, or I don't know. I probably shouldn't have gone in there, right? Now, in retrospect, that doesn't sound safe, but, yeah, I just met him when I walked in the door. He's like, hey, I'm so, like, this super tall guy, and her, and then we all played, you know, beer pong, but I don't drink. And so I was just essentially, and it was water in there. It sounds super lame. I guess that's what people, I don't know. I just showed up, okay? And I was trying to be nice and like participate, but I was like, what's going on here? Because like they were both pretty attractive. You know, it's very weird for like, I don't know. That sounds really judgmental. Maybe it is. Maybe I need to explore that more. You know, these videos are helping me explore my own judgments, you know? But that just made me feel so like small, and like afterwards we went to my car and I was trying to like get into it and everything when she was, I don't know, and I just like, I was really wrapped up in my head, and I'm like, I don't get that with guys. Like, I feel like this is really bad. I'm blowing the whistle, sorry. Just like with guys, I feel like women are so scarce, like going back to that pedestal, that like whenever I'm with a guy, I feel like he's just by default kind of like lucky to be there, and that's so sad, and I'm so sorry. It's not me specifically, I'm just talking about like, because women in society are kind of viewed like that, I do kind of just, I don't get that same nervousness, because I think that guys are like more appreciative to be there, not in like a necessarily a desperate way, like a bad way. I'm really sorry, this isn't in the notes, dang it. But I just feel like it's important. And I just lost it, actually. I better get back on track anyways. But women are on a pedestal, you know, and their rejection stings. And I have a lot of insecurity when it comes to that I don't have with men. So like, I still need to like work that out in therapy. My ex-husband accused me of being a lesbian with daddy issues, but I'm just being forthright, because he could always come back and be like, hey, in the comments. So like, I don't know what's gonna happen, but like, let it be known, that's rumor on the street. But if I'm being real with you, like, I can't be, and I don't want you guys to say like, oh, well, if you got that work, because like, yeah, they've already, my ex-partners, plural, have all, you know, have said that. Well, what if you get those psychological issues worked out? Don't you think you'll be with women? Like, I do enjoy the yin and yang of like a more masculine and a more feminine, and but not overpowering though. They're only slightly leaning. Like, both are pretty neutral, but it might be like a 60-40 where 60 is the masculine and 60-40 where 60 is the feminine. You know what I mean? Just like kind of slightly, you don't have to be like overshadowing each other, you know? Does that make sense? I don't know. That's not in the notes either. We're gonna get back to it. It's 3 a.m, so all my meds are worn off. So thanks for sticking with me. But I just wanted to do this when it's, you know, fresh in my head, because these critical voices, they lead to isolation, and isolation is a huge problem amongst people, but especially men. And that causes resentment, depression, anxiety. Guys don't even want to try. You know, like I mentioned in the last video, like we've kind of gotten to the point where both are just giving up, you know? men and women are thrown in the towel in different ways for different reasons, but goodness. Hello. I'm awake, thank you. It is 3 a.m. after all. I needed a little. All right, we're going. Let's get into it. Is someone keeping track of how many times I say let's get into it before I actually get into it? I hope not. All right, but yeah, like I've just seen men not wanting to try anymore, and honestly, I see why. I'm not saying I agree with it or whatever, but I do see why. And if they do want to try, you know, I've heard horror stories about dating apps on all sides, all genders and everything, but with guys, the guys that I talked to for this video, the general findings, if you will, that I've gotten was the algorithm sucks, especially on like Facebook. I guess like the Facebook Finder or whatever. Sorry, I'm not on Facebook. I'm trying my best to reiterate this. They're deceptive. Like I did hear from a guy that I work with. This is not a guy that I interviewed, just to be clear, but I overheard him saying that he feels like all the women wear really, this was like a few years ago, so maybe it was more in like the yoga pants era, but like he said that girls and women wear their yoga pants too tight, and then when they take it off it just falls or something like that. And so that's just, and he said it's like every one of them. And so ever since then I don't wear tight pants or anything, because I'm like, I don't want to deceive anyone, I don't want anything to fall. You know what I mean? But like, I don't know, it's just, so there's that. But I think my friend that said it was deceptive was talking more about like makeup and contour and editing and lighting and filters, and you guys know, no, you know, use getting into that. But and then also the scam part of it, where it's like pay $40 to see who liked you, you know. And there's a safety concern, and there's rumors, and like it's kind of like this general. Somebody else hear that pop? But yeah, this general belief, I think it was a car. But yeah, so there's this general belief that dating apps are like the bottom of the barrel, and like emotionally, at least, it's bottom of the barrel, you know, like, sorry, it's getting sticky, but like they might be a 10. They might be a 10, like a dime, dude. They might be. But like emotionally, I don't know, because like there's a reason. Like, why are dimes on dating apps? You know, because I'm like, without makeup, I think that I'm just I want to say a neutral, because I don't like that we rate each other. You know, I have like all my opinions, but I'm just going to say a 5 physically. I think that I'm up there personality wise, because I try to, you know, I don't know. I try to make people feel positively. I feel like it's a pretty, you know, so I'm forgive me if I sound like self-righteous or anything. I just mean like I have to keep my goals simple and everything like that. But yeah, let's get into this with the dating apps. But yeah, you know, I'm just gonna, all of this was really, I don't know, I don't want people to say I'm passive aggressive, okay? But let's just say that things are deceiving. Let's just say that things are deceiving. People get deceived. Okay, that was the point of everything with the dating apps and everything. We're going to keep it light. We're going to keep it. Yeah, we're getting better. We're going to therapy. But so guys don't want to try because there's a lot of shame. There's anxiety. There's a suppression of like an appetite, we'll say. And this anxiety, I gathered from one of my friends, is like a sock in your mouth. You know, you just can't talk. And then by the time, he said that he plays things in his head over and over, and by the time he finally speaks, his words, not mine, he said it's irrelevant. I said, it was really interesting in that moment. I went over and like took note, not these ones, I rewrote everything. I've been working hard on this low key. But yeah, so he just feels like it really held him back. And as soon as he started speaking up for himself in the moment without, there should be a tiny bit of hesitation. You don't want to say anything like rude or offensive, but like if you feel strongly about something, speak up. If you want something, speak up. So he said, don't let that hold you back. But there's a lot of things that shame is holding you guys back from, especially in like the physical department, not just like that kind of appetite suppression, but even just like physical touch. Like, he said that when he was going through his cancer treatments and stuff, I remember holding him on my chest. And yeah, because I didn't, people can judge me. I'm going to keep my place there. I didn't want to plan to get into this at least. But yeah, I held him on my chest because it just felt like the right thing to do. Like, I don't know. It wasn't weird. I've never seen him like that. He's, we're cool. He's never been disrespectful. I don't know. It's just been very neutral seeming. And so just in a neutral way, I just was like, like stuff is hard. I'm trying not to curse, but I'm like, stuff is hard. Just like, oof. Like, just relax for a second, that nurturing part. But then I get told that was like crossing boundaries. And then, fast forward, my partner, who was a future partner at that time, said that was super weird and everything else. The dynamic was weird and like that I had to cut him off. And I did. I cut my best friend off for this person. And thank God my best friend took me back. And I learned the horrible lesson of why we never pick partners over friends. That's not in the video. Or I'm sorry, it isn't now. It's not in this, but the physical touch part of it, going back to it, thank God for notes. They saved my booty. But the physical touch, like, guys don't have that. So we have, like, as women, we have a lot of emotional leverage over them that we really shouldn't abuse. We should be respectful and realize that it came from a place of hurt and neglect, if it is, a need like that. But even if they got healthy treatment as a child, they're still going to have that need. Everybody has that need, whether we try to suppress it or not. So yeah, anywho, enough with the, actually real quick, sorry, we do have to touch just on this and then on to brighter and better things, I promise. But the anger is like a hammer. Like I said, it's making us all into hammers. And ping pong just bumped the thing. And it was actually my therapist. He said that the world is making us all into hammers, but the world itself is the nail. And instead of being that, we need to be a multi-tool, is what he told me, and this anger is suppressing everything, and it's making guys into like these like NPCs. My best friend said that about my, one of my partners. It's like, is he an NPC? And I'm like, I don't know. Yeah, and then it did become more and more like that. That's why I have these crazy theories, you guys, of like, why do guys give ChatGPT responses? But then again, they could say that about us, right? So we can't really be hypocritical there. But I mean, I like to think that I don't give ChatGPT responses, but maybe I do, if I'm not super, it all depends on investment. That's the thing. And that's what hurts, right? Because if someone's giving us those, it means that they're not invested, or at least that's what we're learning, or it could potentially mean that I have to be careful. So onward to less toxic things. So forward, so shame is stuck, right? We covered that. Forward would be confidence and expression. So a healthier way, healthier alternatives, because crying is so healthy that we've been told that it's not. And in fact, a lot of us were made fun of for it. And I broke down when I touched on that as well. There's a lot of painful, like masculine suppression that's even within myself that I didn't realize was there, that's really come to surface the past year. And I need to explore where that's come from. But what really got me choked up when I went to talk to him about this was he was talking about how in his culture, and he said it happens in other cultures, it's like a worldwide thing. Unfortunately, it's a global thing, but it's like African American culture, Arabic culture, Hispanic, Jamaican, like all those men are just taught to just shove it down essentially and like not care about their emotions, and there's consequences of that, you know. But he comes from one of those. I want to keep it anonymous and respectful, but again, he gave me permission, you know, and he gave me permission to share the cultural side of it too. But men are really told to shove it down and to just, you know, be there for everyone else and still protect and provide and everything else. But being made fun of for crying is one of the things that I can't even talk about without getting flooded with emotion. Thank goodness I let it out the other day. But when I started talking about this, because the contrast is crazy. Like, we're talking about men in these cultures, but then, like, I'm self-aware, right? And I am a white lady, and I grew up, you know, by the river in a little house with a little picket fence and just like a perfect little childhood, right? And yeah, look at my skin. Like, it's the lightest. I have to be so careful. Why? This is so silly, but the paint that I choose to paint myself with is the lightest shade. No, sometimes it has me looking like an Oompa Loompa. It's not a brag, because if it's not light enough, you can see, and it's so hard to match. But opposite end of the spectrum is what I'm trying to say. And my mom, all jokes aside, like, my mom would make fun of me and laugh at me when I cried, and she would turn up the radio over me crying. And I think that they were under this misconception that we would all self-soothe and just like figure it out. But I remember her, yeah, I've talked about this in other videos, but just leaving me in a room, like shut in a room with one of those things on the doorknob that you can't get out, and just scream and scream and scream. And she thought that if she just I don't know what they were reading in the 90s, but I think she thought that if she just let me scream and scream and scream, that I would just develop self-soothing. But I never did. So it's very important to give our kids a safe space when they cry, because crying's a release, you know, and it's such an underutilized release. If you got a breakdown in your car or the shower, those are my favorite places. The shower too is the best place to stim, and in your car, but like, your car has windows, but the shower don't have windows usually. So you can be, you know, making sounds. You can be kind of doing your little, because I don't know, a lot of whatever. I'm not gonna go there, but the shower can be super. It's just nice to have like a space where you're not being observed, where you can just like let whatever out that needs to come out. I think that that's really great. But crying is another one of those things that we have to let it out. Because like the divine masculine, which is like the theme of this video, kind of revitalizing that would be create, you know, because divine, if we're made in the image of God, it's to create. Like, I don't know what you believe, but roughly, you know, the Bible is so well known amongst people, and a lot of religions do believe that we are kind of either gods ourselves, or kind of made in the image of gods, or there's, you know, like, what is it called, polytheism, or I don't know, polytheistic, yeah, stuff like that. So like multiple gods and stuff like that. So it gets whatever you believe, but either way, we can, you know, at least most of us can agree that it's like creative divine energy, right? So that can be like art for men, that can be poetry, connection, it's creation, right? Expression, whatever that is, music, connecting with other people though, and appreciating art, appreciating poetry. Like, that's where the warrior poet comes in. And that was what my therapist gets credit for that. He brought that up, and I went home and did some more research, and it really clicked in my brain. Please, you know, do more research on that if you haven't. But, you know, we have to break the pattern, because his words so good. He said we disrupted the relationship that we have with the divine masculine. You know, and it comes out as how we treat women, and how we treat Mother Earth, and how we treat each other. You know, it's very competitive. Very dog eat dog. There's a lot of manipulation and lies because of all the cheat codes coming out. Cheat codes, right? Articles, YouTube videos explaining human behavior. How to tell if someone's lying. Yeah? Well, the people that are trying to lie get a hold of those videos and go, okay, I won't do that. The lying's getting better. That's why I'm divorced twice. Okay? Like, yeah, I have issues also. But fundamentally, there was something very wrong. And so, yeah, the warrior poet, we need to connect with that divine masculine. We need to break the pattern. And he said the only way to break the pattern is by showing up instead of shutting down. You need to show up, not shut down. And he said that with his kids, it's very important not to give them a victim mentality. Parents, we need to be, these are his exact words, so good, not mine. I just want to be very clear that we need to be a coach to a creator, not create a victim. And I asked him, because we've talked about in there how I get disrespected, and it's been pointed out that it's more like in a male way of just like respect is very important. I just hold it really highly, it seems, relatively to like other women, at least like my age and stuff. I don't know. But I've asked him how he doesn't take things so personally. And he said that for him, sorry, I said that wrong. Like how to not feel disrespected by those things. And he said basically you have to just not take it personally. And he said he doesn't get those feelings of disrespect because he doesn't take those things personally. He said that he understands why that other person feels that way, but he doesn't take it personally. He just adjusts his behavior accordingly. So I really appreciated that. But yeah, so the parents with everything, and that, that goes back to the whole M16 thing, saying that you got this. Like our parents say, yeah, you got this, but really they know that you're powerless with the skills that you should have, but you don't have, because who knows, they probably don't even have them still. Or maybe they just didn't have them at the time that you needed them. So knowing that you're powerless, usually like them, just covered that, is this, yeah, we're gonna move on to this one here. But yeah, so knowing their kids won't be able to open up, knowing their kid might really hurt someone else. Like my cousin, like broke up a while ago with her partner, and every single time I touch base with her, she's always talking about him. Like, oh, I can't get, how do I go on? I'm so depressed, blah, blah, blah. Every time, and it's been months. I'm like, for me, like low-key, it's like 2 weeks. It's 2 weeks of misery, don't get me wrong. Like I cry some tears. I get all of it out, believe me. But like in 2 weeks, I'm pulling it together, and I'm going to the gym, and I'm, socializing and trying to, and I should say exercising and going out with like, one-on-one. I don't want to make myself sound like something I'm not. I socialize kind of on my scale, but anywho, knowing that their kid might really hurt someone else, my cousin, every time, it's just that can't be happening. The invalidation leads to anger with families, and especially parents. Like if you are constantly invalidating your kids, and that the anger is what we're talking about in these videos. That's the fundamental, not necessarily the problem is the anger itself, because anger is just a tool. It's like a weapon, but you just have to know how to wield it. And anger can kind of transmute into more like passion or like life force energy. It's all kind of the same, like fire energy, but it's just how you use it. And it can be manipulated, and like I said, you can kind of transmute it into something that's not harmful, and that's what we're going to learn how to do. So I'm along with you. My anger has been, I'm not proud of it. It's been protecting me, but I do need to learn how to, I want it there. I'm like, okay, I like my life a lot better with the anger there. This is good. We have boundaries. People don't mess with us. This is good. We feel safe. But it gets out of control real fast. But yeah, so why are we messing up our kids? Why do we tell our boys that the only acceptable emotion is anger? My therapist said this, and my best friend said, and they've never talked. And I'm like, whoa. why do men feel like anger is the only acceptable emotion? That's wild. Because, let's see here. Why are we messing up our kids? Why do we tell our boys that? I asked my therapist why. And he theorized that the anger's purpose is for hunting, primal things. He said it can keep us safe. And that, why does anger equal safety? Because I agree with that, Like, why do I feel like a man has to be capable, at least, of getting angry? Because, yeah, after my, second divorce, I was like, no more angry men. No anger anywhere. If I see that, I'm leaving. But then instantly, like I said, I realized I don't want that. And I discovered that, yeah, it was because that safety goes out the window. Like, they appear weak, or I'm sorry, there's a quote that I like. There's a little tiny little quotes there that I missed. This is from Sun Tzu of the Chinese. He was the Chinese military general, and he wrote Art of War. This was like BC. But he said, appear weak when you are strong, and then strong when you are weak. And he was a strategist and philosopher. And yeah, the Art of War was an ancient, I am reading these, I don't want to get these wrong, an ancient Chinese book on military strategy. And some more quotes that I want to share with you guys is, I wrote them by hand though. Look, this is very thoughtful. Very thoughtful. I do care. Really want to share these. It is only one who is thoroughly acquainted with the evils of war that can thoroughly understand the profitable way of carrying it on. And another one, he will win who knows when to fight and when not to fight. He will win who knows how to handle both superior and inferior forces. He will win whose army is animated, or like given life, by the same spirit throughout all its ranks. So in other words, like, we need to treat people equally. He will win who prepares himself, who was, he will win, and it goes on to say he will win who was military capacity and not interfered with by the sovereign. So, sorry if I didn't read any of those right. My brain's kind of offline. I should probably go to bed pretty soon, but we got to get through these. Okay, but I'm still here. We're still here. We're just going, baby. So, is this one more? I want to make sure we're going in order. Yeah. All right, we're almost through them. If you know the enemy, this is another quote. If you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles. And sometimes I'm the enemy too. I can be both. I think a lot of us probably can. And I think that's why I dodged the first guy's video, if I'm being honest. And I really am sorry about that. I just wasn't ready for all of this. This has been honestly days of crying and talking and thinking about only this and just chewing on it and processing it and just trying to make sense of it to try to present. This is crazy. Who am I to do this? Right? But I accepted the challenge and I've been working very hard on it. And by the way, I hate to do this, but if you can, I'm not making any money from those abuse videos because they're about that. And so if you can, just consider even just $5 in the GoFundMe that my friend made me. I don't care about any, getting to a certain amount. She did all of that for me. She's amazing. But even just anything, I'm really trying to make it out here. I've been busting booty on this kind of stuff. But yeah, so I just wanted to throw that in if I could. I'm really sorry to do that because I want to keep the authenticity, but we'll cut it there. But yeah, I just wanted to admit that sometimes I'm the enemy too. I'm both. And that's why I dodged the first guy's video, and then I'm sorry. And a lot of the trauma prepared to, I was prepared to speak about was like family trauma. I never thought, because this stuff is fresh. Like the stuff with men, this is so fresh. I'm in it right now. Like, it's hard to talk about. I'm sorry. Like, I'm in it. I'm receiving so much judgment every day because I wanted to be with one person, but it's been breakup after breakup and heartache after heartache, and it just seems like I'm just chasing everyone when really I just like to walk away if I feel like crap about myself for, months or a year. I was talking to my friend, and he stayed in a marriage for like, it was over a decade, and a lot of that was miserable, contactless, if you know what I'm saying. Like, and it was just, I don't know how, because after that happens for a few months with me, I leave. And maybe that makes me, we still need to explore what's right. Is it right to stay and be miserable, or is it right to leave and start a new life and actually enjoy being alive? If there is a God, I would think that God, whether it be he, she, they, it, source, whatever, they would want you to be happy. I don't think that they would, because I wanted to not be here anymore in a couple of those, and I tried to get out even. It's scary. But other people, they just can just be like parasites. I hate to say that, but I get so much judgment from going from relationship to relationship, but I would actually love, like my autistic self would love just one. I just want one comfortable, like I have one pair of shoes and I have one coat, and like one phone, and the same phone over and over. I ordered an iPhone 6S from my senior year to this last year. That's a decade, okay, of just iPhone 6Ss, because I could not cope with the change. And I just got an SE, but that's the only reason that I can do these videos. So we have to adapt sometimes. That's so cheesy. Sorry, that wasn't in the notes. But like, yeah, I just want one of these things though. So of course I would want that in a partner. Like, of course I would just want the same. I'm so loyal. Autistic people are so loyal in that way, in a lot of ways, but I'm autistic. Come on. But yeah, sorry, this thing, it's rough out here, and I'm doing it on a $10 Wi-Fi pass. So that who knows how many people are sharing. So this is what we've got. But I wanted to get into what we can do about it, because I know you want to help, but just be so careful, because we are damaged goods. You want to help these people. You want to help these people that you enter friendships with and relationships with. But sometimes, yeah, it's precisely that. It sounds really bad to think of them like a parasite, but if it's parasite of resources, right? And resources can be time, especially that's the thing with the friends and the partners. It's time on the phone, time texting back, even that all adds up, So it's so nice when you can just focus on yourself. But yeah, so we're all damaged goods, and I know you want to help them, but you gotta be so careful. What can we do? Right? The whole warrior poet, we can appreciate his words. His words were appreciate poetry, but also be ready for war at all times. I'm sorry, those are my notes. His exact words when I brought this up to him was appreciate poetry and also be able to show up on the battlefield. And I loved how he said it, and it just seemed like, I can't say that on here, but it made me feel some type of way to think about that, like in a person, if you could have both, the things that, just the psychological thrill of that. So I don't know, but yeah, so, but being capable of war is so important, you know um the whole poser, like hold me back, like that kind of guy. Like, it has to be an authentic, like, capable of war. It can't just be the kind where he's like, oh yeah, you want to fight, but then when it comes down to it, he'll be like, why is nobody holding me back? Sorry, I don't know. I just never understood that. But yeah, respect, like actual respect, secure and happy, you know, people respect people that, yeah, that look secure, that look happy. And security can look like having, you know, a girl, kids, a job, money, right? And being happy can look like, you know, low stress. Girls, your girl's loyal. Sorry, there was no apostrophe or anything. They're not girls. Girls is not in there. Just I read that wrong. Sorry. Low stress. Your girl's loyal. Money. You know, if you have that like security and happiness, but you need money. It seems in either way to like be okay. If you're broke, then maybe you know you're maybe you're not ready for a relationship. You know, and I should take my own advice. You know, just because I'm a woman, I don't know. I can't make excuses, but I do feel like I just start to run out of resources sometimes. But it's not right to put it on the opposite sex or anything like that. You know, so I just feel this protectiveness over girls specifically, like dating them or like having them in your car or taking them out, of just like wanting to protect them, like especially when I'm driving. Like, and you get like little thrills too if you just do something really well. Like if you can like back up with one hand, or if you like dodge something, or like, how'd you do that? And it's like, don't mention it. You know what I mean? It all goes to my head. It really does. Just being, this is a safe space here, okay? But yeah. Like if you go, you just want everything to be planned for. Like if it's a picnic, you just want to put down like a blanket. You want to make sure to I put all that stuff in my car first. I make sure the blanket's washed, you know, so there's no like stickers on it or like ping pong hair or whatever it is. And I try to just make things so nice for girls because I feel like they're so, maybe I'm, yeah, ooh, I just had a revelation in real time. But yeah, I do think that women are more critical as well. You know, if I went on a date with a guy like that, I'd be like, well, sorry, hope the dirt's okay, you know? But with a girl, I would never. I would feel like she would never talk to me again. Oh, that's interesting, isn't it? Wow, this is an interesting experience. Ah, but yeah, just making sure that I follow her lead, you know? I talked about that double standard to my friend. You know, you just, well, to date girls, I feel like you just, to look good, you know, put yourself together, smell good, be clean, and then follow her lead. And, you know, a friend recently asked me how I pulled a certain guy, and I said, I was just, this is not a brag, I swear to God, but, well, kind of, but that wasn't the original intent. But I said, you know, I was just really persistent. Like, I just kept kind of, and I said, yeah, you'd be surprised, you know, you should do that more or whatever. And I realized in that moment when it left my lips, like, he can't. He's a guy. If guys do that, they're creepy. You know, and I think that a lot goes into it, you know, like body size, like all kinds of stuff. Yeah, it goes into that. But essentially, we can't deny that there's double standards, you know, because it is kind of useful, like for safety. Like me, I'm 100 pounds. You know, I was like a booster kid in high school, borderline. So, like, it makes sense, at least to me, for like me to be the one to approach them. Like, if they're a man, because, like, especially if it's a very big, you know, a bigger man. Sorry, it's making me like kind of sweaty. Oh my God, yeah, but I don't think I've ever approached a guy, just because you like never know what they're capable of is all. Like, and their body size is so large. I think it's just because you guys are like, it's not that we, like, at least me, like, I don't think that just everyone's creepy by default, but if you're significantly bigger than me, I have to be so careful, like regardless of what I have tucked in my waistband, you know what I mean? Like, it's just a matter of like thumping me in the head and freaking throwing me over your shoulder like Fiona, you know? Like, that's, sorry if that's dark, but like, it's just so, it freaks me out. It really does. But sorry, on to like lighter things. Um, I don't know. It makes sense. So, but I think that the double standards thing, we all just need to be clean, and confidence, like a huge thing. Um, and confidence is just how we present ourselves, and hygiene and that self-care. You know, what goes on behind closed doors is like so sacred. And we really need to put that time in for ourselves. and we need to be showering. We need to be exfoliating all the dead skin off. We need to have separate, separate shampoo, conditioner, body wash. You need to check if there's a pH balance on your whatever's down there, your face. Everything has a different pH, I'm learning. So make sure that doesn't get out of whack, because that'll start to smell weird. And then, wash your belly button, wash between your toes, behind your ears, all that stuff that you like wouldn't, just make sure it's washed. I don't have time to explain. But yeah, it's just like, the intention of that self-care. Please just choose 1 cent, please. And please, I told the guys that I was going to throw some hygiene tips at you, but please just discreetly get up in there, okay? Whatever you think that means, just do it. Confidence, right? So don't wait to become irrelevant. Speak up and act in the moment. Does she want me to come over? Yeah, if she said, well, I'm just going to do this, like, I don't have anything to do, like this, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, she wants you to go over. If she, made a point of telling you that, jump on the opportunity. Come on. She wants you to go over. And pick up something nice on the way over there. Be prepared. Girls love that, because that's almost like an evolutionary thing. Like, oh, good. His brain is capable of thinking ahead. It's capable of making a good choice, of taking care of me, making sure that we're there safe, making sure that there's parking for the car, making sure he's capable. I love that, because I'm going to pop out little human beings, and I don't want to have all 6 of them on me like a little spider. I want to, be able to throw some of them onto him, and that's never going to happen. I'm I don't want to say never. Whew. Whew. Knock on wood. Is that what you do in that situation? I don't even know, but that's embarrassing. But either way, can't be too careful. But yeah, the reservations, planning, the active listening, the initiative. Oh my gosh, that's so hot. Right? But don't speak just to speak. Don't just fill up the air, because we can tell. If it's not valuable, just stay silent. Your value goes up, and your words go up in value. Your presence goes up in value. Your confidence, right? When that happens, when that goes up in value, it usually equates to confidence. And that's how you get confidence. You speak more intentionally. Get notes if you have to. You know what I mean? Just speak more intentionally. So know when not to speak up. No, words leave scars. These are my really good friends. His words. Words leave scars. Know when to walk away. But it's important to warn people / reassure them, depending on the context, right? Let them know that you're getting heated, and then if you need to step away, reassure them. I'll be back in X minutes. I do want to revisit that, but I just can't think clearly right now. Do you mind if I just go cool off? I'll be back. And it's okay to ask them. Please don't text me. Please don't call me. I just need a second. Don't follow me. Please don't follow me. I will be back. Because a lot of people, I gotta watch myself. A lot of people have attachment issues and stuff, so you just gotta, but be respectful, because it's not exactly their fault. Yes, they should be getting out of it, but if you're already in a relationship with them, and you have to be supportive, right? So we have to be careful here, but know when not to speak up, know when to walk away, but just be sure to reassure them. Don't put in AirPods. I had a guy put in AirPods one time, and I lost my... But I shouldn't have to explain that one. But just don't do stuff like that, okay? It's pretty simple. Don't fumble the ball. He said, don't bring up the past. The first point he gave when we sat down was, put your effing phone down. And he said the word. And he was dead serious. He wasn't even laughing or making a joke. He's just put the phone down. That's all you really need. And I'm touche. Because they're so problematic. There's videos about that alone. And then he said, he thinks it's a good idea. No video games with company over. But they still need decompression time. So it's important for us to be supportive and in our secure, more divine feminine energy, right? And let them just... Because we should be having our own hobbies. So you should be keeping yourself... If you're breathing down your dude's neck, go get some friends or hobbies. And I don't mean that disrespectfully, but I just mean you really shouldn't have... And I've been guilty of it too, just waiting for that person to be done playing a game so you guys can do something or something. So just don't wait around. And just... It's important for them to be respectful of you and know that playing video games for 6 hours straight isn't cool. At least when they're supposed to be interacting with you or hanging out with you or whatever. But you can't be breathing down their neck. It has to be two-way respect, so you gotta give them time with the boys and like give them time to play video games and stuff. I'm not saying that disrespectfully. I just mean like I don't want you guys to call me a pick me because I'm using terminology like the boys. Okay, I've been married twice. All right, chill. So yeah, you just have to be respectful on both sides. And yeah, we're almost through these actually. Nice. But yeah, don't use being intimate and like that adult connection as it shouldn't be a tool or a weapon, you know, it shouldn't be weaponized, and it also shouldn't be scheduled. You know, these are his words. It starts to feel like a chore. And he said that it's good to just send a text. Like he's like, send a text for crying out loud. It takes 3 seconds, is what he said. He said, make it unique. Just be honest in that moment. Say how you feel. You know, no chat GPT responses. Make it unique. So, because y'all are on thin ice, you know, because there's just sci-fi dog girlies out here that are okay, like myself, that are just okay with having dogs as babies, and we don't really feel the need to reproduce. We're just kind of like seeing what goes down out here. And like the sci-fi part, like that's kind of just like, well, we know that we can have, not like AI is gonna replace that, but like, I don't know if we need this. The replies are very similar. I don't want to say anything disrespectful, but like I'm just saying. And then like the girl bosses, and like there's girl bosses, and then there's like personality 10s that are just like unattainable, you know, or at least seemingly. And so you guys are really on thin ice with, especially like, you know, people like that. So you can't afford to be having like dull conversation, is what I'm saying, like respectfully, because like we already don't really want much to do with it. So if we are entertaining it, it's like, well, you know, and I don't mean to speak so highly of myself. I just mean like I really am getting to the point of just saying forget about it. You know what I mean? So, but you want a girl with modesty, humility, innocence, creative, nurturing. But do you have those things? Like the nurturing, emotionally intelligent? You want that in a girl. You want that in a partner. But do you have that? Creative, intuitive, modesty, humility, innocence. Everyone wants that in a woman. But do you have that? Do I have that? Right? We all just need to reflect. Loyal and dedicated, undivided attention. You know, time is dedication. So that undivided attention, 10 to 20 minutes in the morning for a girl, it's so healing for her. Like I do that. I don't mean to make this comparison, but I do that with ping pong every morning ever since I got her. I just kind of, people make fun of me like, stop making out with your dog, because I do. I just love on her and like look into her little eyes and just appreciate her for like 10-20 minutes each morning, because she does so much for me. And I feel like that makes her more secure during the day. She's not as anxious. She's not following me as closely. She's interacting with, you know, other people if we're out and about and stuff more, like at the dog park and stuff. You know, when she's working, she doesn't. She's really good. But yeah, I can just tell that she's less anxious. Is also paying someone just a good amount of undivided attention. Like having your, like, hand on her thigh while you're on your phone, or that's not, I used to settle for that. But that's not undivided attention, you know? Please don't make her ask, you know, because that divine masculine, like that divinity is intuition. You know, that's like a huge part of it. So like, please just try to tap into that, because intuition is like a muscle that just gets stronger, you know, the more and more we use it. And the guy that I was talking to at the dog park, who I really respect, he said that wisdom, he puts wisdom over intelligence. He said, and if you're not either of those things, you know, if you're not wise, find someone who is. That was his like concluding statement, was find someone who is. And he said, be grateful. You know, and anger, you know, we need to meet it with, you know, we need to control it, but we can also not befriend it, but we need to be grateful that we can feel it, especially men, because that's what keeps your family safe. And anger is a messenger. It's signaling to us that something is wrong. There are needs that are not being met. whether that's like physical touch or validation or recognition from your boss, your family, your partner, your friends. Do they recognize all that you're doing? Or do you just have to shove it down? You know how hard you're trying, and just getting through the day is so freaking hard every single day, and no one commends you on it. I commended myself on Instagram. I posted that last video that got 1K, hit 1K views in like 4 days. It was nuts. Thank you guys so much. But I just posted, like, I took a picture of that on YouTube. And I was just like, hey, new video, like, check it out if you haven't, on my personal YouTube. And it said that I had 2K subs on there, and you could see in the picture that it was 1K views, and 4 days ago you could see all that because I was proud of it. I've been busting booty for this stuff. And it was a day later, and I got 2 likes out of hundreds of people that follow me on my personal. People that I've given tattoos to, I've worked with them. People that I went to high school with, 2 people. And there were 2 people that I worked with at the same place because it was kind of a more wild, like, out there place, I'll say. But the people were so accepting and they were supportive of me. But everyone else, I feel like they're resenting me. I really do. But anyways, anger is a messenger. It can also be, you know, passion. But in conclusion, we really have to balance that because that is the divine masculine. It has strength and vulnerability. That's the warrior poet. The warrior is strength and the poet is vulnerability. And both are so attractive. You know what I mean? Come on. So find your outlet. You know, it could be physical, emotional, spiritual, intellectual. Find an outlet for that anger. Heal the divine masculine. We need to heal from neglect. We need to balance the strength and the vulnerability. We need to fight with a purpose, not out of a reaction. We need to respond rather than react. I'm working on it too. Not out of defensiveness, you know? But yeah, that's all the points. This was a lot of work, so I will be linking that. Sorry, I have to, guys. I have to survive out here. So just $5 would be so appreciated if everyone chipped in $5, dude. So I'm going to link that, but thanks for sticking around. I really worked very, very hard on this, and yeah, I hope that you get something out of it. Love you guys. It's not all men, but these are the problems with a lot of them. Okay, but I know it's not all of them, and it seems like a lot of people do seem to know that it's not all of them. If you've come around and you've stuck around this long, I'll give you a hug on your way out. Take care of yourself. Be gentle with yourself. We'll see you next time.